On paper, you might wonder whether the HEV full hybrid version of Kia's Sportage SUV is the best choice to make from the Sportage lineup, but in practice this variant proves to be a very efficient, real-world all-round choice, with eager performance matched to the usual attributes of the current Sportage: striking looks, practicality and a long warranty.
All Sportage models these days are powered by some sort of 1.6 litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder unit, but in very different flavours. The 148 brake horsepower output offered by the mild hybrid version of this power plant rises to 178 brake horsepower with this HEV hybrid version, which, combined with a tiny 1.49 kilowatt-hour battery pack and a 44.2 kilowatt electric motor, plays a major part in a very useful total power output of 227 brake horsepower. Weight and aerodynamics, though, combine to keep performance relatively modest. The rest to 62 mile/hour sprint occupies 7.7 seconds in the front-driven model, and maximum speed is 120 miles an hour. There are eco and sport drive modes, and with top spec trim you can also pay extra for the brand's all-wheel drive 4x4 drivetrain. In all its guises, this Sportage is superbly refined, particularly around town, where the electric motor frequently and seamlessly kicks in to supplant the engine. Only when you push on around twisty roads beyond the city limits will you begin to feel the mandatory 6-speed auto gearbox chase itself a bit, and at this point you might find the engine's usual calm disrupted somewhat. Like its rivals, this Sportage is never likely to feel particularly fun or entertaining. The steering is light and relatively feelless, though that's good in town. But there's plenty of cornering grip, it's wieldy on urban roads, easy to park, and a quiet highway cruiser with the usual semi-autonomous driving tools available to take the strain out of long trips. Like the all-electric EV6, this Mark V Sportage has been designed under Kia's opposite United ethos, which you could guess from a glance at the visual elements the two models share: the boomerang-style headlights, swollen rear arches, the concave tailgate shaping, and the prominent spoiler. Shared parentage with the EV6 is also evident inside, where the dashboard gets a gently curved display incorporating two 12.3-inch digital screens. Other key controls are operated via a row of multimedia haptic buttons, which can change function depending on drive mode selection. Though the European Sportage is 85mm shorter than the long wheelbase global model, it's 30mm longer than the previous generation design, and that frees up 10mm more wheelbase length for a couple of adults to sit comfortably in the rear, 3 at a pinch. The boot capacity is only fractionally down on the mild hybrid model, rated here at 587 litres. Flatten the rear bench and that figure rises to 1,776 litres. The combined cycle fuel return for this Sportage HEV hybrid is quoted at 49.6 mpg on the combined cycle and 129 grams per kilometre of CO2. Given the price premium here, we'd hoped for a bit more gain over the figures of the cheaper mild hybrid version, 43.5 mpg and 147 grams per kilometre, but you are getting much more performance. And a regular real-world return of around 40 mpg is easily possible, which we never got anywhere near in the mild hybrid. Best of all, because of the extra performance, you can leave this Sportage HEV in its most frugal eco drive mode nearly all the time without the car feeling slothful, as it would do if you did the same thing in the mild hybrid. In some ways, this HEV hybrid variant might not initially be your first choice from the Sportage range. On paper, it isn't actually that much more frugal than the much cheaper mild hybrid derivative, and it's not actually an enormous amount cheaper than the plug-in hybrid version that would give you a much lower tax rating. For the real world, though, this test has left us with the suspicion that day-to-day, as an all-round ownership proposition, this HEV Sportage might turn out to be a better bet than either of its range stablemates. We've got closer to the quoted efficiency figures than seen possible with either the mild hybrid or the plug-in versions. And the drivetrain is particularly refined, torquey and smooth. Ultimately, it's quite an appealing combination. If you like the looks, you'll just have to decide whether it's appealing enough to justify the asking price.